making this fit the truck and get it welded in. Bob here, Chopper Bob Customs, and work continues on Uncle Dirtbag's 1961, not 1960 as Uncle Dirtbag told me it was, 1961 Chevy C10 sitting on a 2008, who knows if that's the right year, I believe it's a Yukon chassis. So it's got LS, got modern transmission, modern rear end, modern suspension, modern frame, all underneath this 1961 Apache 10. It was originally a short narrow bed. It still is a short narrow bed. 6-cylinder truck that was built in Kansas City, Missouri, and it's rusty crusty. And what we're trying to get accomplished here is to get these Flintstone floors replaced because they're in pretty bad shape. This is in the last video I did the toe board. I've got it all done and installed, and I started fitting the front floor pan. I was able to get 3 of the 4 bolts in. If you're going to do one of these, you're going to have to be prepared to do some modifications, cutting, drilling. This hole right here I do not believe is in the correct location, and by attempting to put a bolt in it, it raised a lip, which then got caught, which made it hard to remove. So I've got the port power jack underneath of it to kind of give it a little bit of a lift to make some clearance, and then I had to use an old beat up screwdriver to pry it open enough that this lip would clear. I'll have to go in and grind that out, probably elongate that hole. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and get started on making this fit the truck and get it welded in. Okay, so I've used the angle grinder to knock the lip that got made off of it, and I'm going to use the carbide burr on a grinder to see if I can't open this hole up just a little bit to make the bolt easier to go in. Illustrate what I'm talking about. This is the A-pillar replacement panel, and as you can see, it's got 3 holes here. Only 2 of them are used for the bolts. I'm thinking that the 3rd one is probably going to be for welding the plate that has the threads in it for the bolt holes here. But then I don't know whether you can see this or not. Right here, where this hole is located on the floor pan and on the cab mount, and it's also the bolt hole that holds the middle bolt of the fender extension, the mounting bracket for the fender at the bottom. There's no hole here for it, so that hole is going to have to be added. So when you're getting these panels, as good as they are, you are going to have to do some work to get them put in. And to give you an idea, yeah, I'm going to have to open this hole up quite a bit because this does not line up. The edge of this hole is actually at the back edge of this hole is now exactly at the front edge of this hole, and that's after I elongated it. So they definitely did not put that hole in the right place. So I'm going to have to do some more work on that. I pulled the transmission tunnel out, and originally I thought that the bell housing cover was part of the firewall toe board, and that the transmission cover was separate because there are 2 bolts that go down in the top at the front. But when I went to pull it out, the bell housing cover came out with the transmission cover. So I don't know whether you can see this or not, but that floor is so heavily pitted at the front that I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to handle that, because it is pitted basically almost up to the bolt hole. And so, and obviously it would be, you can see there that the pits extend in there. So this thing is really severely rusted. So it could be that possibly replacing the whole thing might be the thing to do. The only thing that concerns me is a lot of times, particularly on replacement panels, the beads that are rolled into it right there, sometimes they don't line up that well. I could probably cut down in front of those, and then that pin right there for the carpet retention, I've been trying to keep them in there to keep it looking as original as possible. Uncle Dirtbag may cut them all off, I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna have to start cutting on this and see how well I can make this fit. And it would cut down on a lot of welding and probably a lot of grief, as much rust as there is in there. The only thing that really concerns me about doing that, there is a brace behind the toe board that runs up basically almost straight away from the fore aft body mount, and I'm not sure whether I'd be able to get in there and put the rosettes in on the engine side of that. And maybe what I do is I surface weld it in. I don't know. Let me start cutting and see what I end up with. Okay, so there's a bolt hole right here that is not in this panel. I think I'll go ahead and cut. Yeah, right there's where the bolt hole is. I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and cut here. And then cut up to here. Double check what that floor looks like underneath of those beads that are rolled in it. Okay, safety third. Let's cut this corner off here. That'll do. Okay, I got all 4 bolts in. So now I need to determine where I need to make my cuts. And let me pull this off here real quick. Here's another issue with these that you're going to run into if you do one of these. They don't put a flange on the front of it. It overlaps the toe board for most of it, and then when you get out here to the very end, it's not long enough. So you're going to have to add to it almost a good 1.5 inches out here at the end in order to get a flange, because you're about 3/4 of an inch right there, and then you need to go 3/4 inch down on the flange. So that's one thing you got to be aware of when you're doing one of these. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and mark this cutout here and figure out where I'm going to make some cuts. Okay, there's a couple things to note here. One, I didn't have to be that accurate on this because this is going to be going away when I replace this section of the floor back here. But the thing is, I want it to be as accurate as possible when I put the front floor pan in, because then I'm going to be registering the back floor pan off of the front floor pan, so I want it to be accurate. The second thing is, it came out a lot that time than it came out the time before. And that's the hope, is that every time you put it in and take it back out, it gets easier each time. Doesn't always work out that way, but so far it's been doing pretty good. So let's get back in here and see if that made it easier or harder. Okay, so far it does seem to be getting easier. Well, that's a good sign. I definitely don't want it to get harder. Let's see if I can get this clamped so that it overlaps or doesn't overlap anymore. I've got the next cut marked, and so with that, I'm going to take it out again. I went under the truck and put scribe marks on where this flange needs to be. And while I was underneath there, I also put scribe marks where the rosettes need to be, along this cab support, and also along the cab support that runs longitudinally through the truck. And then I also put some scribe marks over here to kind of get an idea of where I need to make some cuts over there to make all of this fit. So with that, let me pull it out and see what my scribe marks look like. Where the brake should be for the flange that goes down behind the toe board there for the rosette weld. And I don't think I've got 3/4 of an inch right here. I might have close to it, but basically I need to put a piece of steel in there and then break it. Struggled as to what to do with that little bit left over there. If the engine were out of the truck, it would be a no-brainer. I'd go ahead and take it out of there. There's 2 rosettes, or 2 spot welds originally. There'll be 2 rosettes on the inside of this fore and aft body mount. And I crawled underneath the truck, and I'm pretty sure I can get to them to put them in. So I've decided to go ahead and cut that out. And I'm gonna see if I can't get the spot welds broke from this side. I really don't want to crawl underneath there and try and drill those spot welds out. I put in that day, these 3 have to be the best. Okay, let's see if I can get a little bit of cut off wheel action. So what I've done is I've cut a piece 1.5 inches wide and picked the spot where I wanted it to be, and got it sort of clamped on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the cut line where it needs to be cut, so it will extend this out a reasonable amount so that I can put a 3/4 inch flange on it. Got the strip fit with pretty good tight fit. It's wider than it needs to be because down here at this end I didn't want to be trying to weld on 1/16 inch thick material. I think I'm probably going to see if I can't stabilize this. Let me pause this a second. Point, the video camera stopped recording, and I don't know whether I turned it off and forgot to turn it back on, or whether the camera itself shut off and I didn't get recorded. Haven't reviewed the video, so I don't know exactly where it shut off. So this may be review, this may be new information. Basically, I went ahead and cut out a piece to fill the gap right over in this area. It didn't actually come far enough forward to reach the toe board at all, and basically throughout its width until you get right over here to the very end, it didn't have enough material for a proper flange. So I went ahead and tigged that in, hammered on, dollied it to take the shrink out of it, cleaned it up a little bit. I had to use just a little bit of filler. And then I went ahead and cut this to length and took it over and started a brake. Could not finish brake it because my box and pan really isn't wide enough for this, and my regular brake won't do box and pan style braking, which is what you have to do to make this complete. And so I had to hammer a dolly to finish the brake. Cut out the relief right here for the fore aft body mount, and then did a test fit and found out that I was probably just about 1/8 inch long. Missed it by that much. Anyway, so what I need to do is I need to move this brake. You might be asking yourself, why don't I just cut back in behind here? Well, The biggest thing that you've got to remember is these bolt holes already are a difficult issue, and I really don't want to elongate them any longer than I already have. And the other thing is this also it starts to interfere with the rocker panel when you go to put it on. And so I didn't want to have to be involved with trying to massage that. And so what I've done is, let's see if I can get this pulled around here. I'm hoping this works okay. I have a fairly heavy flat bar that I have, let's see if I can get this up where you can see it. Got a fairly heavy flat bar that I've got clamped in here, and all I really need to do is get this to start rolling over. And so I'm going to give that a shot right now to see if I can't make amends. Gonna go do just a little bit on the shrinker. I'll be right back. Okay, the lesson here is if you're gonna, particularly if you've got a situation where the bolts are difficult going in and out, is that you need to put them in fully every time, or it will come up and bite you like it just did me. Okay, let's see if I can figure out how to make a silk purse out of this sow's ear. This is the reinforcing plate that goes on the floor for the bolt, and I need to split the back of it off. This was the original cab mount. I wish it was in better shape, but it is what it is. Okay, so I only had one good spot rivet in it. The rest of them all popped out. It's pretty rusty. On the other side, I did a lot of work to make this fit, and I've got an idea that I could probably run that nut up and avoid a lot of the work. So I'm going to give that a try. The hole in the floor does not match the reinforcing plate. Looks like I need to go 3 7/8, or I'm sorry, 2 7/8. And that'll be for the support rod. Let's do it this way. Alright, that's how you make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. I'll go ahead and get a piece cut to fit in that, tack it in, and then I'm going to be ready to start welding here very soon. I need to make the spacer that goes in between the cab support and the bottom of the floor, 2 7/8. That's what I took the measurement for. And so I'll cut that off. Gonna try and strip some of the galvanizing off of it. I've got the sleeve installed, I've got it tightened up. You can't weld it in place when the floor is installed, so you're kind of taking a guess here, but since I'm only welding on one side, I can kind of finagle it once I get the floor in place. If it's not quite exactly right, I can bend it over a little bit. The weld isn't really there for any strength, it's just to keep this tube from rattling around when he's driving down the road. So you just need a little something in there to hold it in place, and then there's nothing to pull it apart as time goes on. So we'll get some weld down in there. Weld through primers in. I basically have it bolted together. I don't have the body mount bolt tight yet, but I wanted to get the panel lined up. I do have the A-pillar bolts tightened up, so really I'm close to welding. The problem is that the weather has moved in. It's really, really cold right now, but Hopefully I'll have a warm day soon to get the welding done. Get that welded in, and then I can start on the back half. My original intent was to have one video showing the modifications, the fitment, and the welding and grinding of the floor panel on the driver's side front. However, I've been editing it and I realized that this needs to be broken into 2 videos. So what you've just seen is what it takes to make the floor panel fit in the truck, based in part on some of the quirks of the manufacture of the floor panel, and in part what the truck actually needs and what it doesn't need as far as replacement parts. Don't get me wrong, this panel is a great piece. Most of it is just great. I mean, the holes for the transmission tunnel lined up perfectly. The beads that are in it look like factory. It's just that little bit of the flange issue at the front and the bolt holes. And those are pretty easy fixes, but they are time consuming, and a lot of times you have to sit and think about what you're going to be doing. And so that's why there's a lot of sped up video in this video, and why there's a lot of music. So the welding and grinding, final fitment and all that has been shot. It's ready to be edited and put together and published. I hope to be doing that in the next couple days. The best way for you to see it when it comes out is to smash that notification bell and get notified when new videos are posted on Chopper Bob Customs. Back to the old drill. If you are a subscriber, thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. If not, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, like the video. I like to be liked. And then also, if you have any comments, if you see something that I'm just doing really wrong and stupid, let me know. I'm always trying to learn. If you got better ways of doing things, I'm always wanting to learn those things as well. So please put those in the comments section. And as always, thank you for watching Chopper Bob Customs and Uncle Dirtbag 61 Chevy C10. For now, Chopper Bob out.